Okay, everybody. Today in this video, I'm going to continue talking about the Russian Revolution. This is part 2. Uh, if you haven't watched part 1, please watch it to further understand what happens in this video. Okay, so I'm going to start off by talking about the Soviet political ideology. It's more radical and revolutionary than the provisional government, most influenced by Marxist Socialism. And there were two factions. There were the Mensheviks and the Bolsheviks. Now the Mensheviks, they were the provisional government, and you had the Bolsheviks, who were the communists or the Soviets. So the founder of the Bolshevism is Vladimir Lenin. His early years. He was exiled to Siberia in 1897. He was committed to class struggle and revolution. He moved to London in 1902 and befriended Leon Trotsky. Now, Trotsky is a very important character in the Russian Revolution and in Russia in general, and we could understand that later on there is a conflict between him and Stalin. Now, not Lenin and Stalin, Trotsky and Stalin. But we'll see this later on. So Lenin steps into this vacuum. So amnesty was granted to all political prisoners in March of 1917 to ease the problems, because we know that in March of 1917 there was the revolution, the March Revolution. So Lenin's arrival in Petrograd, a tremendous charismatic personality, and he had a motto which was very important and you need to understand this: peace, land, and bread. Peace, land, bread. Because the provisional government wanted to continue the war, and Lenin did not. Land, because the Russian soil was controlled completely by the government, and bread because of hunger, as we talked of before. He also, one of his quotes is "all power to the Soviets," so we can understand that he's a committed Soviet. So, and the reason behind peace is because, let me continue explaining that, he preached that the war was a capitalist or imperialist war that offered no rewards for the peasants or workers. He also felt the war was over with the Tsar's abdication, and therefore the provisional government should not continue the war. The Bolsheviks, party membership exploded at the time, and their power was consolidated. So Lenin formed the Military Revolutionary Council, and in May 1917 he urged the Petrograd Soviets to pass Army Order No. 1. And now the Army Order No. 1 gave control of the army to the common soldiers. Discipline thus collapsed, and Kerensky was undermined. The November Revolution, November 6, 1917. This was the ideological aspect of the revolution, with the coup itself planned by Leon Trotsky, who had gained the confidence of the army. This is Trotsky down here. Over here, this is Trotsky. And I told you before that Trotsky is a very important character in the Russian Revolution. Lenin went on to consolidate his power in January 1918 when he disbanded the Constituent Assembly, which replaced the Duma. The Bolsheviks had not gained a majority there in late November elections, and therefore the Russian democracy thus terminated, because since Lenin didn't get a majority in the Duma, he formed this Constituent Assembly, which replaced the Duma completely, and a council of people's commissioners was created, and all private property was abolished and divided among the peasantry. The largest industrial enterprises were nationalized, and we can see that Lenin is now taking over everything in the country. So the November Revolution. So a political police was organized. It was called the Cheka, The revolutionary army created with Trotsky in charge, the Red Army. The Red Army was created, and the Bolshevik Party was renamed to the Communist Party in March of 1918. Lenin's first task was to get Russia out of the war so he could concentrate on internal reform. The Treaty of Brest-Litovsk negotiated with the Germans, giving them much Russian territory, population, and resources. The Civil War followed after the treaty from 1917 to 1920. Reds versus Whites, and the complete breakdown of the Russian economy and society. Because Lenin found that, you know what, I don't want to continue this war, it's costing me so much. And the Germans will keep attacking if we, put down our guns. So he went to Germany and he created a treaty with the Germans to end the war. And because the Germans knew the Russians were desperate, they abused this treaty, where they took much Russian territory, population, and resources. So the Reds seized control after the Civil War, and Lenin became in charge of Russia. But that's Lenin's first task, was the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. So the reform of the Russian Revolution. The official Marxist ideology, communism, became the ideology of the nation, the economic policy, and political policy. You had the new economic policy, NEP, a small range of capitalism around and foreign investments, so the Russian economy could start going and moving quickly. You also had political reforms, so you had governing diverse nationalists under republics. Renaming Russia to the Union of Social Soviets Republic. This is important because the USSR stands for the Union of Social Soviet Republics. Lenin died in 1924 before witnessing the recovery of his country from this economic downfall. So this is a flag of Soviet Russia. And thank you for watching this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe, follow on Twitter, and as always, Darwish man, be a man.